polish fans, it's Caroline again, and welcome to another video here at Wild Wind Lacquer. In today's video we are doing a big unboxing. These are my two orders from the Zoya sale that they had a while back. This was from the beginning of March. They had their 70% off sale again, and while that didn't include their brushes, which was unfortunate, I did kind of load up on polishes that I was wanting to buy, some of their newer releases from last year and whatnot. So this first box here was my smaller order of 12, and then this one here was my second order of 32. So we're just going to get into this very big haul. So this first smaller order should only have two little boxes to go over. So these two are from the first order of 12. So on this first order, like I said, I was sort of trying to be good and only get the ones that I absolutely must have. And of course, one of the things that it sort of drives me nuts about the Zoya website is I kind of wish it was easier to see the colors. I have discovered that if you do an in-site search for the exact color, then you can scroll down and see swatch pictures, which is a huge help. But if you're just looking in their nail polish section at all the different colors, it is not the best representation for finding out what the color is going to look like in the long run. But in any case, I do love a lot of their colors. In fact, some of the collections that they came out with last year were really beautiful, and I totally missed them because of their minimal 70% off sale that they had in 2020. So this was sort of to make up for it. So let's see what we have. So this first one is called Truth, and this is a beautiful color. If you are not new to my channel, you'll know that this is one of those colors that I pick up often. It is one of my favorite shades of purple. It's that dusty tone to it. This one is a little bit pink leaning, and it is a beautiful cream polish. So that was Truth. And I will try to be a bit faster on my descriptions and talking about each polish, because we do have over 40 polishes to talk about, and this would be a very long video if I get too wordy. This one is Hazel. I got a full-sized one of these when I purchased it from a D-Stash a while ago. Someone was nice enough to include a sample size of this, and it is a beautiful color, so I wanted a full-size bottle. So I got Hazel, and this is a beautiful sort of silvered out blue, and it's got gold flakies in there. I'm not sure if those are going to come across, but you see the little speckle look that it has? Those are the little gold flakies in it. Beautiful color. So that again was Hazel. This next one is called Aspen, and look at that beautiful frosty bottle. That is lovely. This one is really hard to describe when they're in a frosty bottle, but I believe this is one of their matte finishes in sort of this pearly white, and it also has, if it's going to show up, a little bit of shimmer in there, like a small fine silver shimmer. Really beautiful. This was the sort of color that I was really wanting to wear in the wintertime, so I've been slowly grabbing them as I see it, and this is another beautiful white from Zoya. So that was Aspen. Next, we've got this beauty called V. This is another purple, and just to compare it side by side to Truth, they are very, very similar, I will admit, but they are slightly different. I will be curious to see how they swatch side by side. So this one is a bit more of a saturated color. That one's Truth. And V is a little bit more on the dusty side and less saturated. So I will be curious to see if they still look pretty different on the nail. I get the feeling on camera it's going to be kind of difficult to tell the exact differences with these two. But in any case, this first one that we looked at was Truth, and the second one is V. Next up, we've got, ooh, this was one of the ones that I was super excited to get. This one's Marlo. I believe this is from one of their newer collections. Just look at that. Oh my gosh. This one was one of my must-haves. Obviously, it's because it was in this first one, although I'm surprised I got 2 of those for my first order. In any case, this was one I was super excited to get. Such a gorgeous color. I love this kind of polish. This is the kind of polish that you often see from indie brands, so to have it from a brand like Zoya, fiddling around with and playing with these beautiful components is really fun to see. This is sort of this blurply denim blue base. Yeah, sort of a blurply blue. I feel on camera it's vibrancying up the purple. In person it is more of that dusty denim blurple, and then all of that really beautiful fuchsia shimmer, and then there's also a very fine particle like yellow to green shimmer in there as well. Wow, this is gorgeous. So enough gushing over that one. That was Marlo. Next up, we've got, oh, this one really wants to stay in the box. Another purple. This one's Abby. So, just to compare this to the other 2 in this dusty family, you can see here that it is darker than the first 2 that we've looked at. So this one is Truth, this middle one is V, and this one on the end, Avi, is a bit on the darker side. In fact, quite a bit darker than the middle one. Although I feel this shot here gives a much better comparison between the first 2. You can see the depth of the color a bit better here. You can see that the middle one is a bit on the lighter side, and then of course compared to Avi, both of them are much lighter. But Avi is this beautiful dusty purple, obviously much richer in tone. It is a cream, and again, one of those colors that I pick up quite often because I do really like how this looks on the nail. So I will be doing some comparisons later on to the other colors that I already have in this color family of this sort of dusty purple to dusty raisin. And I'm really excited to see how they compare because I might have some duplicates. As you can tell, there are definitely some polishes that are going to be similar, but I really love this color family, so I'm excited to do some comparisons for that one. So that is Avi. Next up is this interesting spring green, and this one is called Ireland. Now this is one of those colors that if you've watched my spring rack video that I have been wanting to get for the spring, so I decided to pick this one up. It is sort of on that very soft side of a dusty pastel, so it has a little bit more dustiness than your traditional brighter pastels, but I really like how this one looks. The swatches of it were really beautiful. And like I said, this kind of pastel, especially with the white base in it, is really sort of still lacking in my rack. So for spring, I really wanted to try to get some more. So this was one of the ones that I got. So that again was Ireland. Next up, we've got another gorgeous one. This one is called Adena. Just look at this. I do love my creams, but these sort of polishes, the shimmer and flaky, are just very much my jam. They make me happy, they make me smile. This one is stunning. I hope it's going to be coming across on camera because I feel like the glare is sort of taking over, but what this is a beautiful sort of berry leaning purple with a load of that green contrasting shimmer. Really gorgeous. This one I think is going to be beautiful on the nail. I do think it might be slightly on the sheer side, but that's sort of typical for shimmer polishes because you don't want to drown out that shimmer with a heavy base. So this is a beautiful one, again from Zoya, obviously, and this one was Adina. Next, we've got this beautiful dusty blue. This one is called Lou. This is gorgeous. This is another cream polish, and I think on camera again it is sort of deepening the color a bit. This is definitely on the dusty side. Beautiful shade. I think this one might have been one of the ones that I saw on someone else's video, maybe for the fall rack, but it's a beautiful dusty shade, sort of ever so slightly teal leaning, just a bit. Really gorgeous color. So that again was Lou. Next, we've got another purple. This one is called Michaela. Oh my goodness, I did get all of the purples, didn't I? So just to do a side-by-side comparison with just Avi, because this again is another one of those deeper colors, so I don't think we need to compare it to the other two lighter purples, but Michaela is a bit on the brighter side, while Avi is a bit on the dustier side and a bit more cool toned, I'd say, and Michaela is a bit more on the warm tone side. So there's a little bit more, say, gray in Avi and a bit more berry in Michaela. So another purple, again, it's a beautiful cream, and it's again in that sort of broad family of those slightly dusty leaning purple tones. This one is definitely more on the brighter side of that range, so I will be curious to see how it compares to some of my other ones, but beautiful, beautiful color. So again, that was Michaela. So just two more in this first order, and this is, oh, well, so that's a first. This is the first time I've received a dried out bottle from Zoya. Interesting, I'll have to email them about that. But this one would have been Yara, and it is, well, it's kind of difficult to tell because it's separated and dried out and all of that yummy stuff. But I believe this would have been sort of a dusty olive with some gold shimmer. So I'll definitely have to contact them about that. But that was Yara. I think I will put that back in the box so I can let them know. And last in this first order is another purple. I think I wanted to make sure I got all the purples this time. But this one is called Teresa, and unlike the other purples, this one has a shimmer to it. So comparison wise, it's actually a bit brighter than most of the other colors. Closest one I would say is probably Michaela, but even then Michaela turns dusty by comparison. So this one is definitely on the brighter side, and then of course it has that beautiful pink shimmer. So another lovely purple, and again that one was Teresa. So that was order number one. I'll clear this off and we'll take a look at order number two. All right, so order number two has 5 boxes and 2 little single polishes in it. So let's go ahead and start with these two. This one is Hudson. This is a beautiful purple. Now this is very different from the purples that I got in my first order. This is a bit on the grapier side, and then of course it has that beautiful shimmer. Look at that. That is gorgeous. So that shimmer is a little bit on the gold to pink side. Very beautiful. I think this one is going to be another beautiful one for spring. That's beautiful. The second loose box has this beautiful one again for spring. This one is called Fisher. Look at that. That's glorious. Oh my goodness. The shimmer in this is stunning. It is this sort of gold to blue, and then that base is this very icy blue. I feel like it's a bit more saturated on camera. It is definitely white leaning when you compare it to, well, this is a very dusty blue, but you can see that it is a light blue, but it is so beautiful. So another one that would be absolutely stunning for spring, but I think also beautiful for winter. All right, so let's get into some of these boxes. I think we'll unpack the rest of them and then take a look at what we have. Alrighty. So next up, we're going to look at this one. This one is called Easton. This is a beautiful shade. This is sort of a taupe leaning neutral pink. Really beautiful. I really like tones like this for spring and for winter as sort of a palette cleanser. And this is another beautiful cream color. So that was Easton. Then we have another purple. This one is more on the bright side for spring. This one is called Abby. This is beautiful. I can't quite tell if there's a shimmer in it or if that's just slight separation that's going on with the polish, but it's a beautiful sort of white based purple. Really beautiful, and like I said, another color that I think is going to be beautiful for spring. Next up, we've got one of their naked manicures. This one is called Lavender Perfect, and this one is a sheer color, and it's, if I remember correctly, sort of meant to sort of color correct or use as a better than your naked nails sort of nail color. But look at that color. That's beautiful. It's almost opalescent in the bottle. There isn't any shimmer or anything, but this could also make a really beautiful pond look layered with some other flakies or goodies in it. So that was one of their naked manicures perfectors called Lavender Perfect. Next up, we've got Cosmo, and this is in their Pixie Dust formula. Look at that. This is beautiful. It is a silver, not a strict silver because I think there's a little bit of gold, smaller particles in there, but look at that silver holographic. That is beautiful. Really gorgeous. So that was Cosmo. Then we've got this one called Caitlin, and this is a beautiful dusty tone. It's ever so slightly, well, I can't tell if it's purple or blue leaning. Can't tell if it's purple or blue leaning. I want to say almost purpley gray, if that's a thing, but this is a lovely cream polish. So that was Caitlin. Up next, we've got this beautiful rosy color called Kendra, and this is sort of a dusty berry tone. Really beautiful, almost red berry leaning, really nice color. That again was Kendra. Up next, we've got this one called Lotus. Look at this. Oh wow, this is another beautiful one. This is in that same sort of family of that dusty purple that I really like, except this has a larger particle shimmer in it that is sort of a pink to gold. Really beautiful. Look at that. That's lovely. And I love the name. And as you've been hearing me say this entire video, this sort of color family is my favorite. So really happy to have that one. And even if this tone does match, let's say even to this one here, pretty close, maybe a bit lighter, the shimmer definitely makes this one stand out from the cream crowd. So beautiful color there. That was Lotus. Next, we've got this one called Normany, and this is another one in that neutral leaning taupe coloration, although this is a bit darker than the first one that we looked at. Oh, by a lot actually. So Easton is a lot lighter. This one is more on the saturated side, but still on the dusty tone. A beautiful cream shade. So that was Normany. Next up, we've got this beautiful rosy shade called Charity. This is lovely. Look at that. So this is sort of a pinky mauve tone, and look at that lovely copperish glow in there. It's sort of a golden copper. Really beautiful shade. I love the contrast. I think the two colors look really beautiful together. So that is a beautiful color. And again, that one was Charity. Up next, we've got this color called Cocoa, and this one is somewhat close to Charity, except it is richer in color and it doesn't have a shimmer. This one I would almost say is kind of like a rosewood color. Very beautiful, definitely on the rose side of things, leaning a bit towards the terracotta range without being orange, if you know what I mean, sort of that dusty terracotta. So maybe leaning in a Marsala range, possibly. In any case, it's a beautiful color. That was Cocoa. Up next, we've got Haruko. This one I was super excited to get. This, I believe, was one of the reasons why I decided to go back for a second round from their sale. I realized in my first order that I hadn't picked up this color, and then decided, well, if I'm going to pick this color up, I might as well go back and review other people's videos and see what else I missed out on, because this one is stunning, you guys. This is such a perfect one for spring. It is this beautiful sort of bright pastel. That shimmer is stunning in person, really gorgeous. It is this sort of pink to purple shift with a little bit of gold on the edges. Love this one. This one is definitely a standout and a favorite, and I haven't even worn it yet. So that was Haruko. Next up, we've got another Pixie Dust. Ooh, look at that. Oh, wow. This one is called Alice, and this is gorgeous, you guys. I don't have very much from the Pixie Dust formula, but this I had to get because look at that color. Even if I don't like how the Pixie Dust formula dries, I think that adding a glitter-eating top coat might just make it beautiful and shiny, and the color was too beautiful to pass up on this one. Look at that. This is just loaded with beautiful larger particle shimmer, and it's a stunning blurple. Absolutely gorgeous. This one is another standout from the purchase so far. That was Alice. Next up is one in their satin finish. This is a beautiful sage green called Sage. This is gorgeous. I think this is going to be a beautiful one for spring. If you watched my spring rack video, you'll know that this sort of minty, sagey sort of green has definitely been the color that I've been drawn to so far this spring. I haven't worn it yet, but it was pretty well portrayed throughout my spring nail polish rack. So this is another beautiful one, just to get sort of a better color representation. You can tell that this one is a bit more on the dusty side than the other greens, but a beautiful one that I think is going to be beautiful for spring. And again, that one was Sage. Next up, we've got this one called Janna. This is another beautiful sort of dusty purple. Now this is definitely more of a dusty shade than the other ones that we've already looked at. So this is sort of in the same family as Normany. So less of a purple and more of a gray. And in fact, these two, even in person, are really, really similar. I will be curious to see how these swatch in person, because in the bottles, to be perfectly honest, they look identical. So if you have both and you've tried swatching them, let me know what you think. But this one that we already looked at was Normany, and the one I just unboxed was Janna. But I mean, these are really close. I mean, really, really close. So that was Janna. Next up, we've got this beauty. This one is Adina. And you would be right in remembering this from the first box. So there you go. I thought I was being pretty good about going back and reviewing my first order when I placed this one, but apparently I love this one so much, I now have two. So that one again was Adina, the second bottle of Adina. Let's hope that doesn't happen too often. But so far, we're not too bad. Next up, we've got this one called Lake. This is another beautiful one for spring. This is a very, very white leaning, very light icy blue. I feel on camera it's very green leaning. And maybe it does have a pinch of green compared to Fisher, but a beautiful shade. Just to compare it to Olive, it is a bit blue when compared to that. But I think it does have a pinch of green in it. It's a beautiful shade. This one is a cream polish. So that again was Lake. Next up, we've got this beautiful topper. This one is called Moshin. This is beautiful. This is a very micro bar glitter topper, and there's some smaller glitter particles in here as well, and it is in a blue base. I believe they had a couple color options with this sort of formula of the bar glitters and the glitters with different tinted bases, and I decided to go with a blue. And I feel on camera it's turning it very like blue. It is much more of an aqua leaning, sort of aquamarine tone. Let's just sort of compare it to that one. It doesn't seem to want to come across accurately, but it's a beautiful color, and I can't wait to play around with this one. I think this one is going to look beautiful basically year round. I could see this looking gorgeous in the wintertime, really nice in the spring and summer. I think the only time I wouldn't be using this is probably in the fall, just because I don't really think of this color of blue as a very fall, but that's just me. So that again was Moshin. Next, we've got this beautiful rich color called Julienne, and this is beautiful. This is another one of those colors that has a beautiful larger particle shimmer in it, and the base of this is a very rich purple, almost blackened, and the shimmer shifts between this sort of hot pink and a little bit of gold at the edges. That is lovely. This I believe I will be wearing in the fall, possibly winter, but we'll have to see. It's a beautiful shade. That again was Julienne. Next one is a beautiful green. This shade is called Ricky, And this is a beautiful sort of green metallic. Lots of larger particles in here. This is beautiful. I think this one would make a beautiful spring mani for maybe a background to some flowers or even an early fall color. This is very beautiful and rather unique to my collection. Most of the greens that I have are either in the minty family or are in sort of that evergreen color. So this is pretty unique so far to my collection. And that again was Ricky. Next up, we've got another topper. Look how fun this one is. This one is called Cade, and this is such a fun color. I was sort of on the fence about if I was going to get this one, and then I decided, you know what, I really do love toppers lately, and this one has this holographic silver shred glitter in it, and then it also has this sort of golden shimmer in it. Maybe even some other glitters in it. I think so. This is really fun. So fun. I love the holographic toppers, and I think this one is going to be beautiful again, sort of year round with a bunch of different colors. And the fun thing about this is it will look different over different colors. So fall, I think it'll be awesome. Summer, it could be awesome. Spring, it could be really beautiful. So lots and lots of choices to wear this with. So again, that one was Cade. Next up, we've got another rich purple. Oh, this is lovely. This is Mimi. This is gorgeous, you guys. This is a very rich but brighter tone of purple compared to Julienne. Now, I feel on camera they're probably going to look very similar, but Julienne is much more of a blackened base and almost dusty by comparison, whereas Mimi is much more vibrant and almost a royal purple. They just aren't coming across very color. There we go. You see that? How glowy that one is by comparison. I mean, they both have a shimmer in it, but this one has sort of a glow to it. So you can see that this one is a lot darker. I mean, they're both dark, but this one has a deeper, almost blackened base. Hopefully you guys can see that, because that is definitely not coming across very well on my screen, but beautiful shade here. Again, with the shift in that shimmer and that vibrancy in this one is really, really stunning. So that again was Mimi. Next, we've got this one here. This is called Binx, and this is sort of a pink leaning purple, sort of an orchid color, but look at what's in here. This has such a beautiful mix of shimmer and iridescent glitters. It is gorgeous, you guys. I really like this one. The swatches of this were really fun, and I do love that iridescent glitter. So this is a beautiful orchidy color, and I love all of the stuff that's going on in this one. Really gorgeous. So that again was Binx. Next, we've got another in the Pixie Dust formula. This one is called Tilly, and this one is silver with a bunch of silver holographic, but I also think that part of the holographic in here might be blue holographic, because I do see some pretty standout blue glow in it. Do you see that? All of those blue speckles in there. Really beautiful. I think this one is going to look gorgeous in the winter. And it could even make sort of a fun accent nail or topper. We'll have to try that out. So that again was Tilly. Next, we've got this beautiful periwinkle. This one is called Air with an E, and this is gorgeous, you guys. This is a beautiful cream polish, and I love my periwinkles. This one I would say fits right in the middle between a blue and a purple. I feel again on camera this is really oversaturating it. It isn't quite that intensely vibrant. It is a dusty leaning color, but beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Cannot wait to try that one. So that was Air. Next up, we've got another dusty green. This one is called Yuna, and this is lovely, you guys. This one I believe would have sort of been in the same family as Yara, the one that was dried out. It's back in the box, so I can't really do a side-by-side comparison, but this is maybe a bit more on the gray leaning side of things, almost gray leaning green. Maybe it's just gray. What's throwing me is the shimmer in here is so vibrant. You see that gold? That I really am having a hard time telling if this is a gray base or a green gray base. But in any case, it's a lovely color. I do think this is going to be one that I will be reaching for in the fall. So that again was Yuna. Then we've got another purple. This one's called True, and this is beautiful, you guys. This is definitely not quite in that dusty family, so I think the closest one that I could compare it to is this one here, and you can tell that there's definitely a depth of color that Hudson doesn't have. Hudson is definitely more on the pastel side, while True is more of a rich cream with that lovely shimmer in it. And that shimmer is sort of that pink to gold, sort of almost glass fleck. Really beautiful shade. Look at that. That's gorgeous. So that was True, another beautiful purple. Next up, we've got another purple. This time, this is a very, very pastel shade. This one is called Marley, and this is another one that I feel is beautiful for spring. You can tell I was sort of trying to fill the gap of my whited out pastels, and this is another beautiful one. What could I compare this to even? Closest thing might be Abby, and you can tell that Abby's a bit more saturated. It's a little bit more pinky. By comparison, Marley almost looks blue, which is at least on camera, but in person it's definitely a very, very light purple, really beautiful, and it's got that subtle shimmer to it, which I don't think is going to come across all that extreme on the nail by comparison to, say, some of the other shimmers in the other polishes, but I think it's going to make a beautiful soft look on the nail. So that was Marley. Just 3 more to go, you guys. Next, we've got an interesting green. This one is called Gemma. Look at that beautiful shimmer. This is one that I had sort of been eyeing for, oh goodness, probably a year. And I just wasn't sure if it would be something that I liked on me. But when I placed this latest order, this sort of color was definitely one that I thought I wouldn't mind trying. Again, I feel like this one is oversaturating on my camera. It's definitely still on the dusty, almost olive leaning side of green. And that beautiful blue shift in it, or shimmer, is absolutely stunning and incredibly unique. You just don't see color combinations like this very often, and it seems like it's going to be very unique to my collection, and one that I'm really excited to try. It might make a really cool spring shade, but this could also make a really interesting early fall shade to wear. So that again was Gemma. Just 2 more, you guys. If you've stuck around this far, thank you so much for hanging in there. This next to last one is called Saint, and look at this, holy moly. So again, this is not that saturated on camera. I think this is just blowing out my camera, but look at that shimmer. Beautiful, beautiful tone. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is vibrant, but I feel on camera this is almost like a Sally Hansen Pacific Blue Bam in your face, and it's not quite that saturated. Not sure why my camera's doing that today, but this is a beautiful shade nonetheless. Absolutely gorgeous, and with that beautiful pinky shimmer in there. So that was Saint. Last but not least, we've got one more polish to take a peek at, and this one is called Gardener. And this is another reason why I wanted to do this second haul from Zoya, because I hadn't somehow grabbed this one. I don't know how I missed this one and Marlo, but somehow I had. So this is another one in that beautiful glass fleck formula. I really love how these look, and this is again in sort of this dusty blurple that is absolutely gorgeous. Now, closest one that I've got so far is actually in the Pixie Dust formula, and you can tell that they actually are pretty similar, except that the Pixie Dust formula has, of course, the particles in it that are going to have it dry to that texture, but you can see better on this side of the bottle how different they are. Very similar in shade and in sort of concept, but obviously they will dry very different, and even in the bottle shots they are different enough that you can see a bit of the differences in them. This one is a little bit more blue toned, and this one actually stand out a little bit more towards the purple side of things. So beautiful colors. And again, this last beautiful shade was called Gardener. So there you have it. That was my big haul from the Zoya 70% off sale. Let me know down below what polishes you were able to pick up on that sale. I know I think I went a bit overkill and even made a mistake and ordered 2 of the same polish, but it was really nice to be able to finally get a hold of some of the polishes that I had missed out on in 2020, as well as get some of the older shades that I wanted to do some comparisons with in my collection. So you'll be seeing those here shortly. But thank you so much for sticking around. Make sure that you subscribe for more nail polish videos here on my channel, and I'll see you next time.